Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And what a lovely day it is today. The only thing, it is a little bit cold. I've got to be honest. It is cold today, but at least it's bright sunshine. Also, it's a little bit windy. I'm not sure if you're hearing that on the recording this morning, but yeah, that is the weather for today. Just whistle a cloud at the top there, looking all towards Amber Lockerbie, and also going down towards the Kerry direction of the island. All the chickens are out and about. They've been a bit of a pest this morning, the chickens, to be quite honest. And I've just been clearing all that up as well. Let's have a look across to the back of the part of the house, towards Lagana, and also down towards Kamaki. Again, lovely bright sunshine, really warm in the sun. I've got to be honest, lovely and warm in the sun, but a bit of a biting wind just blowing across at the moment, and things are looking really lovely around. Anyway, I can see a few people turning up. Got quite a bit of news this morning, despite it being a Sunday, and normally on a Sunday you don't get a lot of news like new news. You mainly get comment and observation from the week. However, yeah, somebody said hello, Ben. He's saying the audio is a bit in and out, very laggy. Yeah, that's probably the internet. I've actually got an interesting story actually later on in my finally bit, all about the internet in Greece, and so I think you might find that a bit interesting. Anyway, let's crack on. Oh, best me switch me round first, and let's crack on with what's going on here in the last 24 hours in Greece. Just to let you know, it is now day 72 of the lockdown. It's the 17th of January and it's Sunday, right? Anyway, COVID in the last 24 hours. Now, things are looking actually up on the COVID front within the last 24 hours. We've had 510 new infections across the country, which is down from the day before where we had 610, so that's a positive. 148,372 infections since it started, of which 52% were male people being infected. Now, we've had 7 cases being identified through port entry into the ports, which is also down, which is good. Yesterday it was 25 that we had, and now it's been identified that 7 infections came in through there, so that's a positive. There's no information as to where the infections are at the moment. For some reason, the health ministry didn't actually put them out for some reason. It was a bit odd, but anyway, so at the moment we don't know where all the infections are at the moment, but anyway, the health ministry didn't put those out on yesterday's news. However, we'll see what they do. The only danger we've got now is catch-up of 2 locations. All right. Also as well, death side, that is down, which is good. 25 deaths recorded within the last 24 hours, and that is down from 34 on the day before, so that is also a positive. That brings the total death toll since the pandemic started to 5,441. The average age of those people passing away was 79 years of age, and 95.4% of those people had underlying health problems or over the age of 70, and it's mainly males that have been passing away, with 3,213 males, 2,228 females. Once again, our condolences to people who may have lost family or friends at this time. Okay, critical cases. I'm afraid critical cases are up, but not up by much. Critical cases yesterday was 319. At the moment, they are registering critical cases at 323. 225 males, 98 females. Average age of those people in critical condition in ICUs across Greece at the moment is 69. So again, I'm not sure that is a cause for concern, but the number just slightly up, but not overly dramatic increase. Also as well, US pharmaceutical company Pfizer has confirmed it will temporarily reduce deliveries to Europe of its COVID-19 vaccine while it upgrades production capacity to 2 billion vaccine doses per year Anyway, this temporary reduction will affect all European countries, Greece included. A spokesman for the Pfizer Denmark said in a statement to the Associated Press. Now, Germany's health ministry says Pfizer has informed the European Commission, which was responsible for ordering vaccines for the company, that it won't be able to fulfill all of the promised deliveries in the coming 3 to 4 weeks. The ministry also says German officials took note of the unexpected announcement by the Commission because the company had made a binding delivery commitment by mid-February. So it looks like I think this is a little gentle way of telling us that our vaccines are going to be a little bit slow getting to destinations at the moment, despite all the money that's been spent on them. Anyway, an interesting story that I saw this morning in the Greek press. The infectious diseases specialist and professor of epidemiology, Shambros Gorgas, speaking on Sky's main news bulletin, said at the moment the data is encouraging and pointed out that it is very important every time there is a burden and areas go into the red, immediate restrictive measures are applied. In the current situation, he says, the focus is on reopening of the retail and the operations of schools. He said if the opening of the market does not show any deterioration in the epidemiological data, the high schools are likely to open in 2 weeks, which is good news for the high school students. He also said we had the initial discussion on the opening of the lyceums from what is seen to be it seems this is difficult. He said, the professor, stating that the opening of schools can be done in 2 weeks. Just to remind you that only kindergartens and also primary schools are open at the moment. High schools and lyceums are still closed at the moment. Anyway, he says they're going to be re-examining the data, and they're basically going to be using the data that they're going to be compiling from the reopening of the retail sector as to making their decision about the reopening of the high schools. He says if all goes well, we will move on to the rest. If it does not go well, we will go back to everything. So that says basically we could go back to another enforced lockdown like we're already in at the moment. He was also asked about the reopening of restaurants, and the professor said that there is security around this, he says, but at the moment it's better that we wait a little longer. So if you're looking to go out for a meal at the moment, that looks like that is going to be on hold for at least the next I would say the next month at the moment. Anyway, if things go our way and the data is kept, we will see what can be done. So anyway, yeah, thanks a lot. Anyway, also as well, thank you for those people who told me yesterday about Mitsotakis. I did actually find the story in the Greek press yesterday. Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis reconsidered Friday's decision to hike the fines imposed for violating measures to prevent the spread of the coronavirus, announcing that penalties would remain at €300 for the next 7 to 10 days. Get this, as a gesture of goodwill. Well, thank you very much. Goodwill and trust, he said. Anyway, speaking in Parliament on Friday during a debate on the government handling of the pandemic, Mitsotakis said the government will see how citizens respond. He told lawmakers we will keep the fine where it is today at €300 for 10 days, and then we will re-evaluate the situation. Anyway, he said that the purpose of the fine is to build compliance and great social alliance and not to punish people. Well, you could have fooled me. That's the thingy. Yeah, let's get you compliant. However, Zakynthos is not doing itself any favours at the moment, as Zakynthos Police reported that 11 people were arrested in the early hours of Saturday morning for illegal gambling in Lithaki. Yeah, during a police operation in the presence of a court official, it was found that the owner of a house had turned it into an illegal casino and was allowing 10 people to participate in illegal poker games with money. The arrested specifically were 6 locals and 5 foreigners. Of that you can guarantee that's probably they mean Albanians by that. And police also seized €3,670 as well. And those arrested were taken to the prosecutor. €3,000 fine was pushed on the owner of the house as he was the organiser, and all the others that were arrested, believe it or not, were fined €300 for violating the curfew restrictions of basically being out after the curfew. And obviously that is not allowed, and I'm not surprised that they never mentioned about not wearing masks while they were playing poker. So they because were they wearing masks while you're playing poker? That is a question. But anyway, they've all been done for that. Anyway, another little story that caught my eye yesterday, and I thought was an interesting little thing, which I know has been covered in the mainstream media. I'm not sure if it's going to be covered here in the local press, but it does sort of enter a quandary. All right. Now, according to a report by the Piraeus Bank, and that's a bank that Jane and we bank with, they're one of the 4 biggest lenders of the Greek economy, and they are saying that Greece is poised to stage an explosive recovery in the second half of the year, with growth at 7% and 5%. At the moment, if you invest in something, you're very lucky to get 1%. Anyway, in the second and third quarter, respectively, a 7 and 5% increase, and on a quarterly basis, leading up to an annual growth rate of 9.5% in 2022. Now, the Economic Analysis and Investment Strategy report by the Piraeus Bank expects the economy to rebound by 4.5% in 2021 as a whole, after an estimated contraction of 9.5% in 2020. Now, the bank analysts explain that in its projection show that instead of scarring and hysterias, that's the terms economists use to describe the long-term impact of the negative factor as the COVID-19 increases, entering as a factor such as the COVID-19 epidemic. Anyway, they say that Greece is now entering what's called Goldilocks status. Anyway, starting off with exceptionally low levels of activity, with excess production, I don't know in what, capacity overflowing, and taking into account the new tax cut policy, the high liquidity and the low cost of funding, and get this, the unprecedented levels of European Union resources to come to Greece. They're in a position not only to recover the lost gross domestic product of the last 10 months, but also shift to a higher expansion rate compared to the original forecast before COVID-19. Anyway, after the outbreak of the pandemic, and once the original fears about a lasting impact were banished, there has been a chain of events that has convinced Piraeus Bank the economy may actually emerge stronger in the long run from this ordeal. These events have included the inclusion of bank bonds in the European Central Bank's emergency fund so I'll say that again. These include the inclusion of Greek bank bonds in the European Central Bank's emergency bond buying program, the easing of fiscal discipline rules, and the Next Generation EU program, whatever that is about. I've got to come on to the Greek bonds at the moment. I do remember when we were having the crisis in 2008, when Greece was putting a lot of faith in people buying these bonds, which basically, you give us your money, you have these bonds, hang on to them for so long, you can then redeem them after a specific amount of time and make a lot of money on them. And they were trying to sell these bonds and nobody was buying them. It's interesting to see that the EU now has decided, or the EU Central Bank now wants to take these bonds. So we'll see how that works out as well. Anyway, the report shifts and start of the recovery by 1 quarter of this year, and to the second quarter projects that the impact of the European Union resources will come to 1.5 percentage points of the GDP towards the long-term growth rate of 3.5% instead of 2%. Now, these European resources, I think, is a nice way of saying European loans being given to the country. Does that mean that Greece is going to be in hock for much longer? Well, we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, looking on it as a positive thing, obviously, consequently, the upward revision of the bank's long-term projection transcends all short-term turbulence, says the report, concluding that original fears about long-term consequences of the pandemic on the economy were excessive. Well, at the moment, from where I think everybody is standing at the moment, yes, if the stock market is starting to get good, it means that it must be good for the people, which I've never believed in that story at all. It's interesting that the banks are putting a positive spin on what's going on with the coronavirus. The government hasn't actually responded to any of this at the moment. I'd love to hear what's his name, the Greek economist. I'm trying to remember his name now. His name has got out of my head, but I'd listen to what he has to say on this and see if there is element of a truth. There must be an element of truth in this because they wouldn't put it out. But again, it's the way that you dress up the truth. But anyway, I'm trying to remember the name of this economist now, and it's Varoufakis. That's it, Varoufakis. I wonder what Varoufakis's opinion will be on that, and hopefully, maybe there might be some opinion from him sometime during the week. If there is, I will give you that information. Anyway, and finally, get this. This is a story, and finally, Greece spent an eye-popping 4.6 billion hours on their mobile phones in 2020, according to new research presented. In just the first 6 months of 2020, as the pandemic took a firm hold on society, data usage in the country climbed an astounding 86%, up from 1.5 gigabytes for each SIM card used. And this doesn't even count the phone time spent on Apple and Apple iPhones services as well. Anyway, in just half of 2020, the amount of data usage in Greece was equivalent to 1.58 gigabytes per SIM card, compared to 2.3 in usage during the entire year of 2019. Anyway, the research also shows how completely dependent society has become on these devices. You see Greeks with mobile phones everywhere, all right? It's like they are attached to them, and the annoying thing is they drive with them, even though that is now a crime to be driving with your phone on. Greeks still do it. But anyway, the other thing as well, which was interesting, especially during the pandemic at the moment, Greeks have to once again obliged to check in and check out on SMS before you leave home. So obviously one of the reasons why it's gone up, but also the other reason why the usage of mobile phones is people have been using them who are using them basically so that their children can obviously get an education, because obviously people are going online more. Phones are being used as a form of contact with the schools, obviously for distance learning, etc. So basically that is another reason for the big increase. And believe it or not, a total of 124 million euros was spent on the apps as well, basically over 250 million downloads also being used in the past year as well. And Greece is not the worst offender, all right? Greece is ranking 40th in the chart at the moment for usage of phones, with guess which country at number one? Yeah, it's Croatia at number one. So there you go. It is getting a bit chilly out here, I've got to be honest. I've just got to quickly talk about residency permits renewal at the moment. Can I just thank Heather Harvey for getting in touch with me yesterday? You might remember I was telling you that Heather Harvey had all her paperwork checked earlier in the week and was told to report yesterday to basically present her photographs, and then obviously she thought she was going to be given her fingerprints and everything would be done, tickety-boo, and she'd be sat back waiting for the arrival of a biometric card. Well, anyway, yesterday she phoned me to say when she got to the police station, presented her documents and the photographs. The photographs, unfortunately, were not good enough for the police. Ladies, please be aware and please check that your foreheads are exposed when you have your pictures taken. I've got to be honest that the guy that did our photographs, who also did the photographs for Heather, he was very thorough when he was doing Jane's photographs. And when Heather took her pictures back, he immediately redone her pictures at no charge to her. She got them done so that her forehead was showing and her facial, and also her ears are showing as well. That's another thing you've got to make sure that happens. And took the pictures back to the police station. He accepted the photographs. However, just another point to note out is that once you've had that second interview with Spiro, he's really just there to check all your papers and make sure that everything documentation-wise is correct and photograph-wise is correct. He will then book you for another appointment to go upstairs into the building where the policeman in charge of the passport area and fingerprints and that is located, and it is there where you will give your fingerprints, and also they will then hopefully accept your photographs as being good enough for the card. Just to remind you that the identity card photographs are larger than the passport photos, so don't try and cut corners by getting some photographs out of the sideboard that you've had there for a couple of years and use those. They won't be accepted, all right? But just be aware. The other problem is if you've got any facial piercings or anything like that, you must remove them before the photographs are taken. At the moment, Heather's got an issue about having a lazy eye. They're asking for a medical certificate to prove that she has a lazy eye, so her handling is being held up just a little bit longer. But as soon as I get any more information on that, I will get back to you. So once again, don't forget, if you are going to renew or exchange your current residency permit, Tuesdays 8:30 is the day that Spiros will see you. 8:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Take all your paperwork and your current permit that you've got, your passport, and remember, he will tell you what you require. He will look at your file in the police station and tell you what you require, and then book you in for a second appointment to review what he's asked you to get. And then once that is done, he will then book you for a third appointment to go upstairs in the police station to see the man in charge of passports and fingerprints, where your fingerprints and that final bit will be done. You will get given, according to Heather, a temporary card because they will take your blue card away once you go through that second phase. All right. So anyway, we'll keep you posted on that as to how that all kind of runs. Anyway, let's just have a quick look who's tuning in. I see we've got people from all over the world tuning in this morning, which is really nice. Oh my God, so many people this morning. I'm having to squiggle back miles at the moment on my screen. Where are we? Dave McPherson is tuning in. Nice to see you, Dave. I'll give you a wave back. Also, Denise Tyndall is watching as well. Lovely to see you here, Denise. Well, oh God, it's jumping all over the place. I'm actually shaking with the cold. It is that bit chilly. It's not a hangover, right? Okay, David, Denise Tinsdale is watching. Big Al Thompson is watching. Rap Reg, buddy. Nice to see you. Ben Warner was saying the audio is in and out at times, mate. Very laggy. Yeah, that could be the internet connection. It's all those 250 million people downloading all the time. Bevan Roberts is also watching as well. Nice to see you. Shane Bowen is watching as well. Margaret Miller is watching as well. John Stowell is watching as well. Gary Eden, nice to see you as well. Rap Rage, buddy. Gallimera says, Shane Bowden, from a beautiful and fresh Exmoor. Well, it's a beautiful, well, it's now got a bit cloudy now here in Zakynthos, and it's actually feeling cold, I've got to be honest. Shane Bowen is watching, big smile, and he's pouring hot coffee. Carol Davis is watching. Christine Brown is watching. Brian Slinger is watching. He says, morning, buddy, how's it going? It's going well, mate, just a bit chilly. Dis Hakiakis, who's down in Kalamaki and runs Michaelo's restaurant, he's also tuning in as well. Nice to see you looking in, fella. AD Pratt is also watching. Rafreg, buddy, nice to see you. Caroline Davis says, good morning from a sunny Wolverhampton. Sunny Wolverhampton, I don't believe it. There you go. Steve Hodgson is watching as well. Nice to see you. He's up in the northeast in concert, County Durham. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is also watching as well from Wales. Nice to see you. Bob Cavis says, morning, Ginge. Beautiful morning here in Wallingford, Oxfordshire. Lovely and sunny per ardua. Thank you very much there, Bob. Colin Frinston is watching as well. Amanda Gregory from up the hill is watching, and she says, good morning. Thank you, my lovely. Shane Bowen, he says, it sounds a bit windy over there, Ginge. It probably does, or it could be my hand shaking at the moment. Rachel Hanson is watching. Steve Mason is watching. Bridget and Derek Cole are watching from Cyprus. Is it any warmer in Cyprus today? I ask myself. I know up in the Troodos Mountains it won't be warm, that is for sure. But down in the lower lying areas, I wonder if it's warmer down there. Anyway, Paul Markham is watching as well. Steve Hodgson says, good morning, Ginge. That's dry January sacked off. Why did it ever think about trying it anyway? A stupid idea, laugh out loud. Oh, yes, dry January. Of all the months in the year to choose is January, the worst month of the year. But you've done it now and it's out the way, so you can feel good, all right? Anyway, Delia Cosati is also watching in. That's Dennis's daughter. Nice to have you tuning in as well. Karen Bush is also tuning in as well. Karen Bush, nice to see you as well, my lovely. I hope all is well in your world. Ex-Raffridge buddy there as well. Maria Hamburg is also watching as well. David Lowry is watching. Janet Ferrant is watching. Rosewood is also watching. Oh, and Andrew the Fridge Watkins says, morning, Ginge, from a sunny Wales. Oh, bless you. There you go. Brodman Rose watching. Paul Markham is watching. Good morning, Ginge. Hope the weather's better. Well, it's bloody cold. That's all I'm going to say. Christine Coldwell is watching. Nice to talk to you the other day, Christine, over there in Leighton Buzzard. I hope things are going well. She's a first-line worker, works in a pharmacy, and as she says, the pharmacists are really working hard over there in the UK and having a lot put on their shoulders. Anyway, bless you, and I hope all is well. Anyway, Andy Watson is watching as well. Philip Ellis is watching. Jerry Coyle is watching. Raffridge buddy, nice to see you. Tracy Jones is watching. Matt Williams is watching. George from the Obelix restaurant is watching as well. Nice to see you there, tuning in, fella. Also, Lindsay Lamb is tuning in. Nice to see you, Lindsay. Jack Frost is tuning in as well. Sean Webb, Raffridge buddy. Graham Miller, Raffridge buddy. Maria Hallenberg says, good morning from Sweden. Good morning. Have a lovely Sunday. I will. Also, Rossi is watching from Australia. How you doing, Rossi? I bet it's bloody hot over there at the moment compared to here at the moment. Rachel Hanson is also watching as well. He says, good morning, buddy. How's it going? I'll never forget the laughs we had at the factory in Argosy. Yes, those were interesting times, the factory. That's a nightclub that's no longer with us. It's never opened since I shut it. There you go. Anyway, Sean Webb is also watching as well. Malene Thompson is watching. Julie Stewart is watching as well. Anyway, thanks, guys, for tuning in. I do appreciate that. Just to let you know, there is another test broadcast I did yesterday afternoon. Again, this little reoccurring issue I've got at the moment still seems to be cropping up. However, the show did last a little bit longer. It's just over 2 hours. If you want to tune in to some fantastic 80s classics, also some ska and reggae, we'll see how that fares in the chart. My other broadcast from Friday, that actually charted as well. I was really chuffed about that. Got to number 95 in the pop chart because I didn't really get a chance to play any reggae or any other type of music, so it got sort of stuck there. But anyway, if you want to check those out online, go ahead and do so. Quick shout out to Dave Coldwell over there in the United States. He's tuning in as well. Nice to have you looking in. Basically, check it out online on maybe Monday. Now the shops are open. Hey! That's a question I should have asked at the beginning of the broadcast. If you're local, yeah, do this for tomorrow morning. If you're local, and we now got the retail shops opening tomorrow, everybody's very excited. What is it that you are going to buy tomorrow? I know what I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy a new replacement squeegee. Yes, so I can clean down the veranda. So again, let us know in your comments what you're buying tomorrow, wherever you are around the country in Greece, because unless you're in a high-risk area like Attica or Thessaloniki, you're still technically not allowed. You can only click and collect in those locations. But the rest of us, we're allowed to go out and basically buy things from the shops, which is good. It means the economy is now getting itself back on its feet. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to go inside and get warm now because it's absolutely freezing. And you take care. Ta-ra.